Okay, so in this video, you are going to learn how to construct two-way tables. So in the previous lesson, you should have learned about two-way tables, what they are, how they organize data, and today we're just going to practice constructing them, and you'll have to do that in your practice. So the first thing I want to talk about is we'll go over the question and the data, and then we'll talk about what kinds of questions they could have asked. So it says 15 people took a survey on their preferred color in strawberries. The data is shown below. So it says color, and there's a bunch of RBs, which if you look in the key, R is for red and B is for blue. And then strawberries, yes, no. And Y is for yes, is for like strawberries, and N is for doesn't like strawberries. So then they want us to construct a two-way table. So out of this data, I got to figure out what kind of questions they probably asked the people in the survey. So I have a feeling they might have asked them, do you like red more, or do you prefer red or blue? Because their only answers for that were red or blue. And then another question would be, do you like strawberries? Yes or no? So the way I'm going to do this, and you won't necessarily have to do this on your practice, but you will have to fill in some things and be able to identify the questions, is I'm going to construct a two-way table. So it's, do you like red or blue? And bear with me because the writing is going to be hard. So the color or the options, and for that I like to list red, and then another option is blue, but then I also want a total column as well. Okay, and then if I scroll down a little bit, the other question was yes for like strawberries or no for doesn't like strawberries. So on the side I'm gonna write strawberries question mark, and I'll put above it like. So do you like strawberries? And one answer was yes, and that'll be there, and the other answer will be no. And then I'll also have the total for that. So I just built my options, and let me do this a little better. I just built my options for what I'm going to fill in for my table. Okay, so now I got to fill in my table. The easiest thing I'm going to have you start with is the total. So I want to look at how many total people took the survey. So it usually will tell you in the question, 15 people took the survey. So if I go down here, I know that this is going to have 15 people total. So now I want to think about how many people said red, they preferred red. So I'm going to count, look at my table, I'm going to count all the R's. So I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 reds. So I know that 8 total people like red. So red total 8. So then I think to myself, well, then how many people must like blue? 8 plus what is 15? So that should be 7. So you can double check this, but 8 plus 7 should equal 15. That means if 8 people like blue, then 7 people must, or if 8 people like red, then 7 people must like blue. So I'm going to do the same thing for yes or no. I'm going to count how many total yeses there are. So I'm just going to look at this bottom row and count up all the Y's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 Y's, which must mean there's 7 no's. Okay, so now I got to look at my combination. So how many people said they like red and they like strawberries? So I'm looking for R and Y in my table. So how many combinations of R and Y in my table? Well, I see one combination here, one combination here, one combination here, one combination here. So that's 4 combinations total. So I'm going to go down, and red and yes is 4, which means if there's 8 total people that said yes, that must mean 4 people said blue and yes. So I'm going to look blue and yes. I'm going to look 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4, just like I predicted. So it should all add up. So then this is kind of easy from here, because now I know that 8 people must like red. So if 4 people said yes to strawberries, 4 people must have said no. And then in this box, I know that 4 plus what is 7? That's going to be 3. And then this way I got to make sure that this happens. 4 plus 3 is also 7. So that is a two-way table based off the data above. And I always start by doing the totals. So you always want to start by doing your totals first. Once you've done your totals, the middle part will be super, super easy. All right, so that is example number 1. I'm going to now look at example number 2. So this example says a survey of 24 students took a survey on their gender and if they traveled to London or York. So if you look, there's 2 tables here, but it looks like there's the same data. So maybe they just couldn't fit it all in one. So the options for gender, it looks like are boy and girl in this survey. And the place is L is for London and Y is for York. So I know that that's kind of how I would fill my table. So when you look at your practice, you'll probably have tables that are already labeled. You're just going to have to fill them in. So as I said before, I want to look at the total. That's where I want to fill in my numbers first. So I want to fill in that box right here. So in the beginning, it said a total of 24 students. So that means there were a total of 24 students that took the survey. So now I'm going to look at the total number of boys. I'm just going to start with boys. You can start with London or York, but I'm going to start with boys. So I'm going to look at all the B's I have here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11 boys total. So in my table, I can put 11 where the boys are. So if I know if there's 24 students total and 11 of them are boys, then 13 of them must be girls. So I can fill in 13. Or you could count up how many girls there are. And I'm going to do the same for London and New York. So I'll start with London. I'm going to count how many L's there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 people went to London. So then if 12 people went to London, to get 24 total, 12 people must have went to York. So that's how I kind of did it for them. Now I got to look at combination. So now I'm going to look for the combination of London and boy. So I'm going to look for when there was a B and L in the chart. So, whoops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there are 7 boys that went to London. So if there's 7 boys that went to London and there was 11 boys total, 11 minus 7 is 4. So you should see 7 plus 4 is 11. And then if there's 12 total people went to London and 7 of them are boys, 5 of them must have been girls. And then 4 plus blank is 12. So I can do 8. And also 5 plus 8 is 13. So you can kind of look at it that way too. So that is how you fill in a two-way table. And you're going to have to do this in your practice. You'll kind of have to drag it. So that is how you fill it in, kind of how you count and you organize through this data. The only other thing I'm going to say is you will have to decide what these titles will be. So you're going to have to kind of decide what questions there are. So my suggestion would be to look at the data and look at the answers and say, what kind of question would give you those answers? So this one was, do you like strawberries? And this one was, what color do you like, red or blue? And then this bottom one, it looks like they asked them, what's your gender? And then what place did you travel on your school trip or on a trip, whatever trip they took. So those are kind of the titles that you would put there. And in fact, I'm going to label these titles in. So where did you travel? And then gender. I'm just going to put gender with a question mark because I can't really fit it. But the side label might be gender. So that's just kind of an overview of how to construct tables. If you have questions, please ask your teacher.